Welcome back. You're tuned into Bazaar Morning Call. Hope you're having a good morning. Well, our research team is standing by to drill it down to the stock-specific action with CNBC-TV18's top list of stocks for the day. Morning, guys. Abhishek, you go first. A lot of updates we've got, overnight. Tell us about Mahindra & Mahindra Financial.
Well, it looks like they have had a good run in Q3 FY23, given the fact that disbursals have been pretty strong, but it's not translating into meaningful AUM growth till yet. However, asset quality has, improved, so which is a positive sign. So to begin with, disbursals for the month of December was around 4,650 crore, up about 3.3% month on month. This also shows that for the quarter, they have had a disbursals of 14,400 crore, which is up 82.3% YOY and about 22.7% sequentially. The business asset or the AUM has grown by just 4.3% quarter on quarter and about 0.9% on a month-on-month basis. Remember that in the previous quarter, they have had an AUM growth of nearly 9% or more on a sequential basis. So gross NPA ratio, that's declined sharply to 6.2%, which compares to about 7% in the previous month and about 6.7% at the end of Q2 FY23. Collection efficiency has improved. The December ending has seen collection efficiency of 98% when compared to 96% in the month of November and about 98% same time in September. So overall, good set of numbers in terms of disbursements and collection efficiency coming in for Mahindra & Mahindra Financial. Back to you.
Okay, that sounds good, Abhishek. Thanks for that. M&M has a tendency to have rather volatile numbers. So that's why you have 88 and 2 and stuff like that, because the year ago numbers were tough. Let's get to Zomato. Big things happening there. Another exit, Mangalam?
Exit, in fact, the fourth big exit that we've seen in Zomato in the last 2 or 3 months itself. And this one's a big one because it's the chief technology officer and co-founder Gunjan Patidar, who's resigned. He was one of the first few employees of Zomato and was, important from a company's building of their core tech systems perspective. So this is important also because the recent exits that we had of co-founder Mohit Gupta, the company is not looking for a successor for him. New Initiatives head Rahul Ganju and Intercity Legends head Siddharth Jawar. All of these guys handle verticals of the companies which now are under the current leadership itself. For instance, Deepinder Goyal is now directly leading food delivery. Albinder Dhinsa is, leading Blinkit, and Hyperpure, which is led by Rakesh Ranjan. So the others were, were leading verticals which weren't as important to the company. But the CTO resigning is something that the street may not like. See some red on that stock. However, for companies like this, since he's the first few employees, and they've mentioned as well that they do have a strong succession plan and systems, so nothing immediately worrying for them. But the fact that over the last 3 months there have been 4 big exits is something that will not go down well with the street.
Oh, absolutely. And the stock is down about 15% in the last 1 month as well. Thanks a lot, Mangalam, for that. Well, Sonal is with us to talk about ONGC and the latest on the windfall tax. Sonal, over to you.
Good morning, Sonia. Let me start with ONGC in particular because their rig Sagar Samrat has started oil and gas production in the Arabian Sea, and they have given the numbers as well. This rig will handle up to 20,000 barrels per day of crude oil, and they also say that they are expected to add 6,000 barrels per day of oil to ONGC's production in the coming days. In terms of gas, they say maximum export gas capacity is 2.36 million cubic meters per day. So that is definitely a positive news. On the flip side, we have the windfall tax revision, and this time around it is on the higher side. On crude petroleum, it has been increased to 2,100 rupees per ton versus 1,700 rupees. Export duty on diesel has been increased as well to 6.5 rupees per litre versus 5 rupees per litre. Export duty on ETF has seen a sharp hike. So here it is at 4.5 rupees per litre versus 1.5 rupees per litre. Duty on petrol continues to be nil, and this is on the back of the increase in crude prices that we saw in last couple of days. But yes, this is something that could see the likes of Oil India in the red. But for ONGC, the news that I spoke about earlier is a positive.
Okay, all right. Thanks a lot for that, Sonal. Well, let's focus on a couple of other stocks. PSP projects, large order is what they have got. They emerged as the lowest bidder for a government project worth around 1,350 crores. That's come in, for the construction of a state-of-the-art high-rise office building in Surat itself from the municipal corporation out there. So that stock should open up well in the green, going by the size of the order. Next up, we have Hindustan Zinc. Remember, the float in the market is very, very minimal. They've come out with their operational update. It doesn't move the needle too much. But, out there, the mined metal is up by close to 100%. The silver integrated sales actually is a little lower. It's down by close to around 7% at around 161 tons. That's a little bit disappointing, but there is expectation that silver prices could move up. So we're going with green given the kind of buoyant sentiment we have on metals. So keep an eye out on that one as well. But back to Abhishek. Abhishek, you're tracking a whole host of banks. They came out with their quarterly update. Run us through the list.
Nigel, the key thing amongst all the banks is there is sharp improvement in CD ratio, which in a rising interest rate scenario augurs well for net interest margin to either remain healthy or improve on a sequential basis. So let's begin with CSB Bank. They are taking the sheen away from NBFCs on the gold loan portfolio. So overall, the deposit growth is about 19% YOY and about 8% sequentially. The CASA ratio has dipped sharply to 31.4% versus 34.3% in the previous quarter. Over here, the CASA growth in absolute value has largely been less than 1% quarter on quarter. However, other deposits have grown higher, so you are seeing a dip in CASA ratio. Loan growth pretty strong, 25.7% YOY and about 5.6% sequentially. In this, the gold portfolio has grown robustly at about 50.8% YOY and 9.3% sequentially, which has meant that the overall gold loan share in the overall loans is about 47.05% when compared to 39.2% in the same quarter last year and about 45.5% in the previous quarter. X of gold loans, the loan growth is about 9.55% YOY and about 2.5% sequentially. Coming on to Karnataka Bank, that's also seen an improvement in their CD ratio, which is credit deposit ratio. The deposit momentum was weak over here, up about 7.9% YOY and about 3.6% sequentially. The CASA ratio has also seen a decline on a sequential basis. However, loan growth is pretty robust on a sequential basis, growing by about 4.4%, which has meant that the credit deposit ratio is at 75.25% when compared to 74.7% in the previous quarter. Coming on to South Indian Bank, the deposit growth is weak. However, improvement in CD ratio does mean that they can see an uptick in the net interest margin. Deposits grew by just 2.7% YOY and about 2.5% sequentially. The CASA ratio has seen a dip to 33.84% versus 34.5% in the previous quarter. Loan growth pretty healthy, 18.5% YOY and about 3.2% sequentially. So they have seen an uptick in their CD ratio as well. Back to you.
All right, thanks a lot for that. Very helpful there. Here's a quick recap of our top stocks. Stocks with positive news flow today. There's M&M Financial, ONGC, Hindustan Zinc, PSP Projects, South Indian Bank, Karnataka Bank and CSB Bank. While stocks with negative news flow, there's Zomato, Reliance Industries and Oil India. But let's go across. Sure.
No, it's okay. I was just going to introduce Manisha Gupta. Manisha, tell us which commodity we should watch out for and whether the strong trend of yesterday continues.
Thank you for that, Lata. Well, I'll start with crude oil prices. And, officially yesterday was the first day of trade overnight when it comes to the international market. So we've seen a bit of a decline come in for the crude oil prices. So below 80 is how WTI is trading, and Brent has also come off the kind of highs that we saw yesterday. So 0.5% decline in the international market. But the big decline has come in for the gas prices. I mean, we did see near all-time highs in the last year. 7% of decline is what we are working with for the first day of 2023. Last year, that is 2022, we saw 28% of gains come in for the gas prices, but sharp declines is what you are seeing on the screens right now. This is because of weak industrial demand estimates, high production in US, high inventories in Europe. All of that really seems to be weighing onto the market. But the good moves continue in case of the metal prices. Still flat to marginally on the positive side here. Gold prices are trading at a 6-month high after posting the best quarter since 2020 in the previous quarter. We are looking at very strong gains continuing to the precious metals for this year.
Okay, all right. Thanks a lot for that, Manisha. Well, for the time being, we'll slip into a short break. When you come back, we've discussed a lot of stocks. We'll take that to Dipen Mehta of LXR Equities to get his view on some of those fundamental stock analysis. Later on, we'll also connect with Mr. Nitin Khara of Confidence Petroleum to understand the outlook for